The tweet is out. It is a Wednesday late night happy hour. Remember, I don't know why I always say this. 9 o'clock start. If you're not here, then you don't know it's a 9 o'clock start. So Petro is going to retweet it. We're waiting for our Midwest and listeners all over the country and Pacific time listeners to come in. It's Steve Cofield. It is Saran Petro. God almighty, the NFL season, as big as the NFL is, always creeps up on me. And it's this time of the week where I'm like, oh, shit. We didn't do our NFL predictions. And then I send out a mass email, Petro, to the rest of the crew, the Cofield Company crew. And I'm like, make your picks now. Let's go. So this may be the earliest I've ever gotten it done because we have a early show to do picks with this. And then tomorrow, we'll blow out all the rest of the picks with Adam Hill and the rest of them. And inevitably someone like F's it up. They, they'll pick a team to be the wild card team and a division winner, or I don't know, something will happen. They'll go under the win total after they pick the team to make the playoffs. Like, it can't be both things, or unless you think there's good value. But what we're going to do is do division winners, wild cards, Super Bowl, and then we'll do a bunch of exotic props that are here in Vegas and global odds, which I always like, especially individual stuff, because those are the kind of bets that we make. Sometimes going head to head on the air. Let's see. Ari is already checking in, the producer. I didn't get that email. Like I don't know football or something. You won't be involved. You're going to mumble your way through the fucking thing. And I didn't say I was really early. I just said I was a little bit early because normally for a 3 o'clock show, the prediction grid goes out at like 2:45. And I'm like, be ready by 4 with everything. Let's go.
Right.
All right. Cameron Fletcher putting some pressure on us. He's like, I can only stay for 40 minutes tonight. Well, we'll get to the predictions in a couple of minutes. So.
Listen, Cameron's he's not taking no shit from no one, man. Like, so get to it, Steve.
All right, I have to play a couple of videos first, though.
Couple stories, then we'll get to the picks.
Do you know of this Ian Rappaport?
The crap sheet.
Yes. What do you call him?
The crap sheet. He has his column is called the rap sheet. And so Bob Glauber, who writes for the New York Newsdays, my NFL insider, jokingly calls him the crap. He calls it the crap sheet.
Okay,
just for fun. They're friends. But yes, I'm familiar with Ian Rappaport's work.
Everyone's not a fan of his. I think he does a pretty good job. Although
we've covered this. Every national guy is hated because they don't kiss your team's ass. They're not like the local guys.
Oh, I don't care about that.
Jay Billis hates every team, right?
Yeah. I can see fans being like that. I mean, as a fan of the Jets, am I going to be upset? Like, he's not giving us a fair shake. Like, there's no shake that's going to be on the good side. This is what is this? Garofalo.
Garofalo. Is it Garofalo or is it Garofalo?
I think it's Garofalo. Unlike Garofalo, unlike Janine Garofalo. You got Siciliano and then James Palmer, relatively new guy, and then
by the way,
the second one.
Not to interrupt you for the 7th time here in the first 2 minutes, but nice dirt face catch right there.
What was that?
Like on Siciliano?
Yeah, that's a bad one.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing better than the dirt face. Like,
that's
fantastic.
Let's get a read on this. What's going on? Because Rappaport doesn't seem. I hope I have the right video. This will be a terrible setup.
Mentioned Ian Rappaport. What do you got?
Does he know he's on camera?
You know you're on TV, buddy? Ian?
This is great.
I don't think Ian can hear me.
This is awesome. Hold on.
I'm having the time of my life.
Look at Garofalo cracking up. James Palmer actually took this and retweeted it out, so he gives no Fs. And I don't know, there are times when you see guys who work together and they start snapping at each other, like what their real story is.
Yeah, like, is it really to dig a guy, or are they just buddies and it's good natured ribbing?
Yep.
Oh my God, this is fantastic! Look at this. This is better than anything he was going to say. What? He's got a return monitor. How does he not know? Ian, wake up!
Ian,
what are you doing?
What are you
doing?
Ian, we're on.
Hello,
Ian.
What's with the eyes?
He's clearly had a long night.
Dude, he's a weird guy.
Okay, keep him on the screen. Mike, you do your thing, but keep Ian up.
My thing is Denzel Mims is back to practice for the Jets. The rookie, they need him to be a big.
Okay, I think he's now aware of what's going on.
big explosive player. I'm watching Ian this whole time. I think he just realized he's on TV.
He's back.
This is fantastic. Denzel Mims is back to practice for the Jets. They need him. He's got some catching up to do. He's a rookie. He missed a bunch with a hamstring. You have not been here. You were in another world, another stratosphere. You were daydreaming. The rest of the class was ready. You were just off on your own.
Okay. What happened?
I think to be honest with you, you've done a little TV. I've done a little TV. I think somebody did not have the programming sound fed to Rappaport. And so it's probably a behind the scenes deal because he clearly wasn't responding. I mean, he didn't put an earpiece in. He didn't reach forward and click a volume thing. So I think it honestly was a truck mistake, for lack of better terms, the control room mistake, but still good TV.
Yeah, I have a tough time with Rappaport, only because I am first and foremost a radio guy, and sometimes TV guys and especially print guys annoy the crap out of me. This was Ian Rappaport with Chad Dukes a couple of years ago on The Fan in D.C., and I am so jealous of Chad because I've come close to having a meltdown like this. I think I kicked one person off the air, but listen to what happens here. This is a little bit weird with Rappaport as he's doing a live interview.
My boy Dukes.
So he's not part of your team, Nim. So once you decide so he's not part of your team, then it's really just, get what get for him.
Ian Rappaport is my guest on Chad Dukes First World NFL Network, of course. The exclusive.
I'm sorry. I need to take this phone call. I apologize.
That is the last time we have son of a bitch on this show. I swear to God. What a piece of garbage that guy is. That's twice he's done that. That's twice. And he sucked. He had absolutely no. God, I hate that guy.
Raw emotion. Yeah.
And Dukes is the same guy. I mean, Dukes, I love Dukes. Dukes is one of our DC guys we'll bring on. And, I go on his show. And he's also the one that lit up the Baltimore NFL talking head.
Did he go after La Candusha?
Yeah, La Canfora, who anyone like KC fans, like he is public enemy number one because in 2014, when the Royals and Orioles met in the ALCS, he just unloaded and talked all kinds of smack on the Royals and was tweeting it out and was talking about how they were a clown fest. And then, of course, the Royals went in there and swept the Orioles. And so he has had an axe to grind with Kansas City ever since. And I don't know what it is about KC and pissing people off because La Canfora, so it's still a war today on Twitter. You see people, he blocks people right and left. Kansas City people they will not give it up. They light him up relentlessly. But then also, how bad I am with names. The guy who's NBC Sports, NFL Talk.
Oh, Mike Florio?
Mike Florio gets lit up because he went on the air and said if Tyreek Hill ever plays another down, when the initial story broke in just a snippet of the audio of him with his baby's mom, put it up, got put out there. He went on the air and said Tyreek Hill never played football again and didn't have the whole story. Of course, the whole story comes out. You hear the whole audio. The audio is very different when you hear the whole conversation. He clears everything. There's no charges filed against him. And so Mike Florio said, I will never cover the NFL again if he ever plays another down. And so Kansas City fans are like, why are you still covering the NFL? You're supposed to be done. Tyreek Hill's in there. Like, why are you still there? So yeah, there can be some arrogance out of some folks that need some comeuppance. And that's nice to know, Duke. That's Duke's second. When did that just happen?
No, that was 2 years ago. I think La Canfora happened after that. See, La Canfora he pulled one. I think it was about 2 years ago as well, where he was booked on a station in Florida, and he didn't pick up, and the producer's calling him over and over and over again, and then he sends out a nasty tweet like, "If I don't pick up, that means I'm not coming on."
Oh, that wasn't Dukes? I thought that was Dukes.
No, that was La Canfora going off on a South Florida radio show producer, right. And then someone from the station came in, and they're like, "Who are you? Just text you're not coming on. Show a little respect."
See, I give Dukes that credit. I thought Dukes did that.
Shows are not just some mishmash of crap. Some of us actually plan them out, and the slots are booked. I don't know what he's doing in Baltimore now, and I hope it's a long, successful run now that he's on Sports Talk Radio. But cut it out. Show a little understanding that we all have jobs to do. You know what I mean? It's not all about you and the attitude looking down your nose at freaking radio people.
Yeah. I mean, listen, some radio people have earned us that reputation. Like you can't walk away from that. But like the talking head guy that has no opinion, that like spare me.
We had a little incident today with one Derek Carr. He's got a guy in the media named Josh Dubois that he does not like. I will give you the audio version first. Yeah, you got the Sharks up there.
By the way, how can I be trolling Vegas fans with a team that didn't even get invited to start back up? Like, I'm not trolling. I'm just showing you that I'm not a fair weather fan because my team's a turd and I'm still wearing the logo. So I'm not trolling.
And if you're a Las Vegan, we stole your coach, who is better than our previous coach. So now you don't have Pete DeBoer, and it looks like he's leading the Knights to a magical season.
I don't have anything to say about the Sharks right now, man. I got nothing. So
here's Derek Carr today, Raiders quarterback, answering a question from a guy named Josh Dubois. Apparently he doesn't like him. Dubois is a facts-based guy. He sends out lots of stats, but a lot of the stats about Derek Carr are not great, and Derek Carr absolutely pays attention to stats. So this is the way it went down audio-wise, and then I'll play the video.
Derek, I saw the comments you made yesterday when you talked about how what you guys have accomplished has been pretty awesome. As an outsider looking at the wins, the points, things like that, maybe we don't see it. What did you mean by that?
It doesn't really matter, Josh.
Hey, Derek, we've heard a lot about the...
That was it. Doesn't really matter, Josh, and then silence. Just sat there on camera, not saying anything.
So, and you've got the video?
Yep.
Let me see the video because I want to see. Is it a Zoom?
It's good. His face is. It's a Zoom. But
I want to see because like what happens here is you ask a question, you're immediately muted.
Right.
And that's one where the PR people should unmute you and give you a chance to follow back up.
And that was the case.
That's chicken shit.
Yep, that was the case because the guy asked a question. Adam Hill was on it. I think Adam said he was 9th in the queue. Vic Tafer, who covers the Raiders for The Athletic, was up next. And, Carr gave him the short answer, and then the reporter doesn't get a follow-up, which is, this is what happens now in media. But I think there's a bigger issue at hand here than just a guy being, short with a media member.
As an outsider looking at the wins, the points, things like that, maybe we don't see it. What did you mean by that?
It doesn't really matter, Josh.
I mean, listen, look, what the whole bashing of media has empowered people to think that they can be a jackass. And, he's making it personal between him and the reporter because he doesn't like the question, even though it's a legitimate question. What is awesome, right? Like scoreboard, you are what your record says you are, and you haven't really accomplished anything. You had one pretty good season. And then we're hurt in the playoffs. So you've got no playoff wins and it's a results business. And if you can't handle that, then stop cashing the check and go home. But I will say this. I mean, to me, to Raiders fans, that's the symptom. The disease is he's not your guy. And it's incumbent upon management and John Gruden, Mike Mayock and John Gruden to find the replacement. And this is year 3. Yeah. And listen, it's fine if you say, hey, I want to get my hands on him and see what he is in person, but you should have had this figured out in year 1 and you're now on year 3. Now I will say this, it took Andy Reid, he got here in 13 and he turned it over to Mahomes in 18. He drafted him in 17. So it took him 5 years and it's going into his 6th year. He found the guy to replace Alex Smith. Now Alex Smith would answer any question. Alex Smith wouldn't have said, we've done some really impressive things here. He'd say, we're just working to get better. I mean, I will say this. This is why guys talk coach speak, because Patrick Mahomes says nothing. Andy Reid says nothing, right? Tom Brady says very, very little because they know you show it on the field. Talk is cheap. Right. And so, Carr knows he doesn't have the results on the field, so he tries to make some statements to look like a leader. I've always called it, you're Matt Castle. When Matt Castle was the quarterback of the Chiefs and I covered Matt Castle, my friend Doug Stewart, who worked with me at the time, said, he's a guy impersonating what he thinks a quarterback should do, right? Because he knows he's not the man. He's just the guy holding the job. And Castle had a 27 touchdown, 7 INT Pro Bowl season one year and won a division title, back-assed his way to a division title with a 2-4 division record, and managed to get in there at 10-6. So he had some accomplishments, but he was always a guy that was impersonating the guy. He was just wearing the uniform, and he wasn't truly a starting quarterback. And neither is Derek Carr, and that's clear.
And remember, it was, back on October 24th, Derek Carr said he's just going to ignore the critics and just move on, and he's not really ignoring the critics, so he's playing into the same game. And he's in a unique position, right? Because he's going to have the backing of many Raiders fans, although I was reading one of the threads, and a lot of the Raiders fans were like, bro, it's time to win. Stop worrying about the media and criticism and your numbers. The only thing that counts is wins. But the other situation he's in is you have no equity here. We don't care.
Yeah.
Like, there is no tie to the Raiders yet. So if you think you're going to get some, soft pillow from the Vegas fans, I don't want to sound like a dick, but like, we're a city of winners. We got the Golden Knights. Now, do I believe that? No, that's ridiculous because the Golden Knights just got here. But this isn't the Bay Area anymore. So it's not going to be it. And there's a lot of people who don't like the Raiders.
Right. So let me say this.
Around Las Vegas, we are going to want a winning team. And I'm going to tell you, and Adam Hill says this all the time, like, we're going to find out what happens if the Raiders and eventually the Knights don't win. In Vegas, you win or we don't go. And that may make us a crappy sports city, but that's reality. That's what it's going to be.
So let me say this. I listened, we sat and we did the draft, the happy hour auction on Monday.
Yep.
Yeah, and by the way, flawless.
Oh.
Absolutely flawless.
I effed up part of it, but my God, CBS Sports, what is going on? Because it has not been smooth, and people are paying for this. Come on.
Yeah. Because we did a straight snake draft, which you think ought to be the easiest last night. My boss's snake draft, and it was, we were constantly having to stop, and people are like, "Oh, hold on, I got froze out. I got to let everybody in," which I get it. And there's probably more people doing fantasy football now than ever because everybody's stuck at home, so everybody's doing it line. Like, so many in-person drafts and auctions are now online, but which is, don't get me going on how our infrastructure sucks, and this is from dozens of years, not any one indictment. It's not any one individual. Like, the internet is like water and electricity. It cannot suck ass, okay? It has to work, and it has to work fast. When people are working from home and getting school from home, we have to have the internet, right? That's not a political statement. That's all you Republican and Democratic pricks. Get your heads out of your ass and fix it. It has to be priority number one. Think the New Deal with Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Fix the freaking infrastructure, right? I mean, there's no reason for it to suck. So it's not all CBS's fault. I'm sure they didn't have the server capacity. They weren't ready for as many people that are on there. I get it. It did blow. They got to wear it. They didn't send you an apology, which is bullshit. But I mean, come on, let's go. But my point was, we were talking, and all you Raiders guys think the Raiders are going to lose at Carolina, right?
No, not everyone.
Adam does.
Not everyone. I mean, I will tell you, to my point earlier about Carr and having no equity here, when you do a fantasy football draft and all the people from Vegas don't really bid on any of the Raiders,
right?
This is not a hometown team yet. Like, I've been in 2 drafts. Derek Carr has not been drafted.
Well, and it's going to be a Cardinals-like existence for the Raiders in the sense that Vegas is a transient town. I mean, most people are from someplace else. And, of course, the Raiders are from someplace else. So it's going to be –
if they win, people love football here, and they will do what they did with the Knights. Maybe it's not the same exact thing because, Vegas born. It's an outside team. But if they win, they will develop fans. But it's going to be a while.
And in the Southwest, not everybody had a hockey team. Everybody has a football team.
Yeah. And people – that's the other thing. People have to switch. And people don't switch their teams that easily.
If you want to tell me that their fans are going to be halfway between the Knights and the Cardinals, fine, I'll listen to that. But they're not going to be all the way the Knights were. I don't believe that for a second. But my point was this. At Carolina, home for the Saints, at the Patriots, home for the Bills, at the Chiefs. I mean, if they don't beat Carolina, they could be 0-5. And then versus the Bucs at the Browns. I mean, you're looking at they come through that at 500. around 500.
Yep.
At the Chargers after that, Broncos at home, Chiefs at home. At the Falcons, I think is tough. At the Jets, not so much. Colts at home, I think are tough. Chargers, Dolphins, at Broncos, it eases up. That last 4 you can do some business with maybe, or 4 out of the 5. We'll see Atlanta's mercurial, but no, their schedule's a bitch. And so if you're going to be an ass to everybody, okay, because that question should be asked again if they're sitting there at 1-3 or 0-4. Like you said, you were doing some awesome things. Can you point out what the awesome things are? Because let me tell you something. Like Darren Mark, like Houston is on Bill O'Brien's ass, and he has won 3 out of the last 4 division titles. Yep. And they're like, can you explain how you could give up the best receiver in football for a broken down running back and a giant contract? Like they're like in his face. And that's how they are in Philly. That's how they are in New York. That was a freaking softball. That was a softball, and he couldn't handle the softball. Yep. I mean, it is. Listen, year 3 of Gruden, year 2 of Mayock. The bullshit ends next year, man. You cannot. They had Mariota supposedly locked and loaded. He's hurt now, but they weren't going to him anyway. He wasn't winning the job. They've got to find a quarterback, and they had tons of draft capital to move up. If Tua's the bomb, or I don't think Herbert's the bomb, but if Tua ends up being the guy or Love ends up being the guy, then it's shame on them. You have to get it right at quarterback. The Chiefs made a really good pick of Derek Johnson back in 2005, I think it was. When they had Trent Green and they had the offense, like, we got to fix the defense. We got to fix everything. And they passed at 15 on Aaron Rodgers, who went 24. Because, well, we're trying to win a championship here. You never, ever, ever pass on the quarterback. If you know this guy is going to be the bomb, you have to take him. So they did not know any of these quarterbacks. If any quarterback over the last 3 years goes on to be great, they did not know what was happening.
It's going to be a fun ride.
Let's get to some picks. What do you got? Where do you want to start?
We'll go division winners and then wild cards.
Okay.
Do you guys do one of these shows, by the way?
We do. We're going to do it tomorrow. We're going to rocket through it. The way you laid it out is exactly right. It's been sitting there on the list of topics for a month. And like on a slow day, we'll do it. And now tomorrow is no way a slow day. And we're like, shit, we have to jam this thing in there like it's nobody's business. So instead of having like I always love these because I'm like, we could do literally like 10 hours on this. And I think it's good conversation, right? Because everybody loves the NFL. And instead, we're going to cram it into like 16 minutes if we're lucky. It's going to be another year. I'm going to be like, God, we had a pandemic. We could have been doing predictions for a month. We could have broken this down to a month of shows. Yeah, no. We had more important stuff every single time.
Whose fault is it? Who do you blame? Yourself or your support staff? You got to remind me of these things.
I'm not taking an ounce of Jed Marshall's problem.
I love it.
No, ultimately it's my fault.
Yeah, it is.
Like I'll give you an example. I allowed Curtis to talk me into talking Royals today.
Oh, God.
On Tuesday morning, I said, listen, the Chiefs open, defending Super Bowl champs on Thursday. I don't want to hear anything about the Royals. And we sit down to the topics, and Curtis is like, I got some really cool stats on Adalberto Mondesi. Right? How bad he sucks. He's hot, he still sucks.
Yeah.
By the way, your speaker's up. You need to turn your speaker down. But he does, and I'm like, okay, well, we got to wedge it in because we're actually going to go up against the Royals in the 5 o'clock hour. And I don't know how many people still are, checking out baseball on radio, period, and checking out this baseball team on radio. But I was like, okay, let's do some Royals. And actually, I burned the first segment because then I get going and I get passionate about it because I do give a shit. But I should have done Chiefs. I should have done this. I should have done this. This is what I should have done.
Now you're all frustrated. You better get it done tomorrow. I'm going to blast some music here. I'm going to see if I can adjust the levels. My top-notch producing. Just some NFL films. It cheers me up. Maybe it won't play. Who knows?
That's production value, Steve.
Watch. Once it starts playing, it's on. Do it. That's it. Here we go. Do I need to lower it? How does it sound versus the mics? Hard to test.
Not good, it would be my guess, but that wasn't NFL Films. That was CBS's NFL intro, right?
It's a hour and 10-minute mix.
I think that was NFL Films.
This is the 70s CBS
Yeah,
with
Brent and Irv, and that's exactly that's what I thought it was.
Jimmy,
and Irv, and that's exactly that's what I thought it was.
Jimmy the Greek.
Brent, Irv, Jimmy, and God, what was her name? She just passed away last year. Anyway, yeah, my formative years. Where do we start? Let's go. Me or you? Stop playing with your toys. Pick a division, jackass.
AFC East.
Pats.
Hold on. Phyllis George.
Phyllis George. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Phyllis George. Trailblazer. Females in sports. Phyllis George. Everyone knew Phyllis George. Everyone but me. The guy can't remember any names. Daughter's on CNN. Oh, I didn't know that.
I'm out. I'm out on the music.
Okay, I got the Pats. Who you got? And we'll converse.
Really? The Patriots for the AFC East?
Yes.
All right, Patriots too.
See, everyone's on the Bills, except Vegas isn't hard on the Bills because they've got the Bills at 9 and they've got the Pats at 8.5. Because I always factor in where Vegas is, which is not a prediction, as we all know. Those of us that have gambled, it's about trying to get the money right to make a profit, right, to balance the money out. But I like the Pats until they're beaten. They got a quarterback in Cam Newton. If he's healthy, Josh McDaniels can coach. Bill Belichick can coach. The thing that scares me is I would love the Pats, but their opt-outs are significant, right? They lost a lot of talent. It's like the quarterback position. I'm fine. They lost leadership. They lost swagger. They lost probably some crafty checks at the line. Cam Newton's going to give him athleticism. Cam Newton will make all the throws that Tom Brady did. I don't know that he'll choose to make those throws. He'll push the ball down the field, make more mistakes, but make more big plays. But they lost a lot of talent in the opt-outs. That's what scares me. I'm not sold on Josh Allen. I'm sold on the Bills defense. I'm sold on their quarterback. On their head coach. And I am sold on their talent being significant. But while I like Stefon Diggs, he's kind of a cancer. Like, how long till he's pitching? When Josh Allen misses him 4 times when he's wide open on deep balls, does he come back to the huddle with a big smile on his face? I don't think so. So I'm not. I think it's pretty close to a coin flip between those two. But give me the champ until they're beaten.
There is no science behind my pick. I pick the Red Sox and the Patriots to win every year. So I just hope to reverse jinx it, and then I get my pick wrong, but I'm very happy. AFC North, pretty clear. Is there anyone who's going to challenge the Ravens? I have the Ravens.
I have the Steelers.
You do?
I have the Steelers.
Wow, okay. Well, let's keep going. Let's see if the Ravens make your playoffs at all. AFC South, who do you have?
Colts.
I have the Colts too.
Okay.
I was actually surprised when I looked at the over-unders. I figured the books would be a lot higher on the Texans than they are. The Texans are not well regarded.
No, they hate. Excuse me. Pardon me. They hate the Texans, and there's an over-hatred of the Texans.
Yeah.
Like I said, Bill O'Brien's won 3 of the last 4 division titles. Yeah, I keep saying that. I should really go check that and make sure that's right. Maybe it's like 3 of the last 5 or something. But no, they're being undervalued.
AFC West, what a nightmare. AFC West, clearly the Chiefs. The AFC West, in my mind, for the next 3 or 4 years, could be worse than the AFC East at its worst when the Patriots were rolling the AFC East.
Can't be worse. Can't be worse because no team in that division has had a quarterback for 20 years. Sorry.
The rest of the AFC East sucked.
Yeah. And I'm saying the AFC West cannot duplicate. You cannot have 3 franchises not be able to find a real quarterback for 20 years.
All right.
And that happens.
We'll see.
I mean,
there's 2 right now that might not have a quarterback of the future. And there's another one that hasn't even started moving towards a quarterback of the future.
Yeah, but listen, it's not as hard as the Chiefs made it look to find a really good quarterback. And the Chiefs did find, they found an Alex Smith. Like, Alex Smith was good enough to finally win a division title, right? They could not run down, the Broncos when Peyton Manning was there. But once Peyton Manning was out of the way, he was good enough to win a division title. But I think somebody in that division will find a quarterback. What the Ravens have done in winning division titles and conference titles and a couple of Super Bowls without a franchise quarterback it's unreal. I mean, it's a reason why, like, lightning is struck twice there. You don't try to duplicate that. So you have to have the quarterback. And no, the AFC West is going to be. That's the thing. Is like Matt Moore would probably take the Chiefs to the division title because Andy Reid's that good. Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, they can't win less than 10 games.
So we're both going after all that. AFC West is Chiefs for both of us, right?
Yes, absolutely, of course. Okay. All right, wild card.
Wild cards. I didn't really put them in any order. I listed them 1, 2, 3, but my first wild card is Titans.
My first wild card is Ravens.
Okay. I have Steelers as a wild card.
Texans.
Okay.
And then my surprise. There's always a surprise, and I got my surprise.
And then after bashing the AFC West, I am going to go with the Chargers as my final wild card.
I'm going to take the Cleveland Browns.
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo! All right. Why is it going to happen this year?
Listen, I always talk about being a year early or a year late on things. The roster breakdown, it's all on Baker Mayfield. If Baker Mayfield sucks, then I'll look stupid and everybody can laugh at me. But he can't suck. He might not be great, right? He might have got away with some throws. He might have, some things might have just broke his way. That first year, but you don't play that well as a rookie with the turmoil around you unless you have some skills. And I think this is a unique opportunity. Like I like the Browns over. Sleeper alert, sneak peek there. I like the Browns over, and then I'm going to like the Browns under next year. Like unless they really come together as a powerhouse, but I'll probably love the Browns last year. My biggest bet off season last year. Going into the season last year was the Browns under. It's like that is a mortal lock. The Browns will go under. I've mentioned that on the show all the time. If you're going, put whatever you can on the Browns under because they had surprised everybody, and that's the kind of team that doesn't really understand how they got there. They'll regress back. And I said, it may be take a step back to take 2 steps forward, or the year before was just a fluke. Either way, they're not going over. I think it was take a step back to take 2 forward. They've got a big time pass rusher. They've got some secondary people. They've got a quarterback that's got talent. They've got a wide receiver, if his head's not in his ass, that can do something. They've got depth at running back. The offensive line they've been working on, that's a bit of a question. But I think there's a lot of pieces to like with the Cleveland Browns. The problem is the division and having to play the Ravens and Steelers twice. But I'm almost hedging my bet here in the sense that probably one of those three is not going to make it. Right, but I'll get 2 out of the 3 right. 2 will come out of the AFC North, and they will not be the Bengals. So I'll get 2 out of those 3 right, and there will be a surprise team. So you can either take all chalk and be like, "Well, I can't believe the Pats didn't make it," or whatever, or you can try to find the team that's going to come from off the pace and get in there. I'm trying to find the team. I think it's going to be the Browns.
What do they get Q Levy? Do they have to become a running team and stop relying so heavily on Mayfield?
They do, and they will. And I think everybody minds their P's and Q's with a first-year coach, right? I think, or a first or a second-year coach that's in his second year after a first year of disappointment. So yeah, I like the Browns. There you go. Adam's on my side. I like that. I think they show up to play. They got Myles Garrett's got something to prove after the way his season ended last year. He's got a contract to validate. I think there's a lot of reasons, and I think John Dorsey put together some good pieces for that football team, and now and I think they've got competent people in place. So we'll see. The problem here's the one. Here, if it goes wrong, it's Daniel Snyder too, because the owner's a jackass,
right?
And that is a cancer that sometimes can infect even. Marty Schottenheimer could coach. He went to the Redskins, didn't get it done, but with the Chargers, he was really good again and in the AFC Championship game. I mean, you can screw up anything if your owner is a jackass, and all signs point to yes right now on that.
So on the question of playing the right way, that's why I like the Chargers to sneak into the playoffs because Anthony Lynn has the quarterback he wants to have, not Rivers. He didn't want to play the Rivers style, which is chucking the ball over the field. He wants to be a run-based guy. Now, the question is, can they play a power run game with Austin Eckler all year? Probably not, because he's too small. And are they going to be able to find a good backup behind him? Right now, Justin Jackson is dinged up, and I guess Josh Kelly is going to get a bunch of the carries. So I think he's going to go with a run-based. Kind of the only way that Tyrod Taylor works is to be a conservative team. You throw here and there, you take a couple of deep shots, but you got to be able to run the ball. And obviously their defense can still be good. It won't be great without Derwin James. So I have confidence the Chargers will somehow eke their way to 9 wins.
Derwin James is a big loss. They're good up front, right? I think they're more than just Derwin James in the back half. I'm looking through. They signed Chris Harris. We'll see how much is left in the tank for him. I think that's an important signing. But they have talent. I'm fine with the Chargers. It's can they call it right on offense? And that's the thing. Shane Steichen,
yes,
is going to get the chance. I do like Tyrod Taylor when you're looking for the long-term guy. Like, he's a good guy to bring in there. He's an Alex Smith-like guy to have run your program and build a winning environment. I do like him, but I think if they hit some troubled waters, there'll be a temptation to turn it over to Herbert because they're going to have to at some point, and we'll get to that here in a little bit. That's
where I disagree with you. I think Lynn is going to push it to the fucking very end on Tyrod. I think that's part of what he used Hard Knocks for. It was like Taylor, like pounding the Tyrod PR work. This is his guy. He is going to live and die with Tyrod Taylor. Herbert's not getting in there for a while, unless they're just an utter disaster out of the gates. I mean, they have to be a big time disaster out of the gates.
I will say this: their 7th game is at Miami. They kind of play easy, hard, easy, hard, easy goes easy Bengals, hard Chiefs, easy Panthers, hard Bucs, hard Saints, easy Jets. And then they go to Miami, and that'll make or break their season.
Okay. All right, NFC, you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
NFC
you go
playoffs.
first this time.
NFC, I'm going first, right?
Yeah, you're going first.
NFC East, Cowboys.
Eagles.
Okay. Why the Eagles?
You're just a chalk pig.
Maybe.
Okay. Why the Eagles? First of all, I think they are as talented as the Cowboys. I think their quarterback is as good as the Cowboys quarterback. I do think Mike McCarthy can coach as long as he's got his quarterback's ear. You would think he would have it, but I do worry about the Jerry Jones, Dak Prescott contract thing being a big pain in the ass. Zeke Elliott's a big personality. There's a lot of big personalities down there that aren't really team guys, right? And Jerry Jones and the Cowboys have never been able to keep themselves from just grabbing the guy that's the best physical talent. And they accumulate talent. They don't necessarily build the best team. I think Doug Peterson, first of all, anyone who's coached under Andy Reid is very qualified. You look at his coaching tree from what's his name in Buffalo to Peterson to all across the board, like the Andy Reid coaching to John Harbaugh. Guys are very successful that come from there, and they get it. Now, I think the Eagles have been the best team for 3 years. The last 2 years, they've been incredibly injured and still made the playoffs, which is a sign of their resiliency and how good they are. And so I will say this right now in my decision-making process, taking you to where I was when I'm picking the Super Bowl, the Eagles are one of my final 2 teams to make the Super Bowl from the NFC. I think they're a complete team. Fletcher Cox, I think they have everything they need, and they have been just crushed by injuries for the last 2 years. If they can avoid injuries, they added speed to the receiving core. They've got a dynamic running back to make plays out of the backfield. If they can stay away from injuries, I think they will be fine.
Always the autoplay get you. Can't punch up any goddamn sites without the autoplay. NFC North.
Why Cowboys?
I don't because I don't buy the Eagles. I picked against the Eagles last year. They eat their way to 9-7. I don't like Peterson. I think he's solid, not spectacular, and I'm not buying that all of a sudden they're going to stay healthy.
You're not buying Peterson. He won a Super Bowl with a backup quarterback, and you don't buy him.
Hell of a run.
That's fair.
Hell of a run.
Can you give me an example of a guy that wasn't the real deal that had that kind of run? I can think of one.
Who?
The Ravens coach that won in 2000.
Brian Billick.
Yeah. Never seemed to be able to. Couldn't find the quarterback after that. The difference is Doug Peterson has the quarterback.
Like, I sound like an a-hole here, but because a lot of it's concussion issues, but I don't know that Wentz is going to stay healthy. So
that's fair. That's fair.
The track record is there, and it's a bit chalky with the Cowboys, and I think there's a toxic mix there that could blow up. But and I actually I'll say this: I don't love Mike McCarthy, but I like Mike McCarthy a lot more than Jason Garrett. Someone new in there. Hopefully, he won't fucking listen to Jerry Jones at every goddamn turn. And the other thing is be aggressive. Last year. And then, you know what? I should go back to Anthony Lynn. Don't settle for goddamn field goals all the time from 52 yards. And freaking Jason Garrett, it was like every big spot. freaking weak third down plays, field goal attempt. Dude, this is it. Come on.
It is a virus that NFL coaches have. Andy Reid doesn't nearly go for it enough on fourth down. He has all the firepower in the world. They're just so good on 1 through 3 that nobody knows that they're that good, right? Like that's the thing, is that downs 1, 2, and 3, they make up for it. They don't realize so many teams should go for more on fourth down. Every analytics guy will say that for you. I'm with you. Listen, I think McCarthy, he went to Baker University. He's a local guy, right? So he was a quarterback coach for the Chiefs back in the day. So I root for Mike McCarthy. But I will say this. There's a little bit of ownership infection. Jerry Jones is a better owner than people give him credit for, but he does kind of dick it up when they get close. But I'll give you segue. We're going NFC North next, right? 2 things that I think are at work here in everybody's predictions. One, Cowboys' massive point differential. Cowboys had a great point differential, so everyone wants to say, okay, they should have won way more games. Point differential is not the same as run differential in baseball. It's not as much of a true indicator of what happens. There's a lot of and so on points, right? When the game gets out of hand, everybody mails it in. In baseball, every batter's fighting for their statistics, and so you get a truer indication of the actual talent with run differential. Packers are getting no love because their point differential sucked last year.
Right.
And so everyone's counting the Packers out. So I will tell you, you have who at the NFC North?
Vikings. But I blew it last year because I said the Packers wouldn't even make the playoffs, and they went 13-3. So I misread them last year. My anti-Packer stance this time around is I do believe there's an implosion that is possible with Rodgers, and that Rodgers is feeling the love thing a lot more than maybe he's indicated. And I think LaFleur is one of these guys, and you find him every once in a while. They'll have something good in front of them, and they're like, "Yeah, but it's not mine." So I gotta reinvent this. I gotta win my way. So he's looking forward to getting Rodgers out of town.
I don't know how the Packers. I don't get it with Jordan Love. I don't get that move. He's a fine quarterback prospect, and maybe he'll be good. I will tell you that at best, I don't know who he'll be. I mean, he'll be one of those guys, right? He might be a real NFL starting quarterback, but I don't think he's going to be a difference maker. I might be wrong, but everyone's trying to reincarnate Patrick Mahomes.
Right. And
so he got a lot. Nobody made more money off of Patrick Mahomes maybe than Jordan Love, right? There's a lot to like about him, but there's also a lot not to like. And I'm with you. I mean, they have to be right on that move. And they were right on Aaron Rodgers when they had Brett Favre. If they're not right on that move, it's going to be a disaster.
I mean, it's also a disaster that when a guy's, going down the stretch and he's 36, 37 years old, you don't do all you can in the draft and free agency to get him more help. Come on.
I think
A.J. Dillon is a ridiculous pick. Yeah, he may turn out to be a player down the road, but that's not what they needed right now.
No, and there should have been a receiver somewhere in the first 2 rounds.
Yep.
And they've never taken a first-round receiver for him. Devontae Adams in the second round is the highest skill position player they have taken since he's been the starting quarterback. They have never taken a first-round skill position player.
And that's one thing when he's, 26, 28, 30 years old, but he's pushing it. So do you have the Packers winning the division or the Vikings?
I do have the Packers winning the division. I think you get Aaron Rodgers best. I think Aaron Rodgers was not prepared for last year. I think he's going to be sharper. Second year of the head coach. Rodgers motivated for his going out the door. I'll take the Packers. I might look foolish. The Vikings secondary is so young, and coverage is such an important part of the equation. I worry about that. The Bears are a candidate to bounce back and win this thing. I think Matt Nagy is definitely a good offensive mind. I know he's got tremendous respect from the Chiefs organization, so I give him every possibility of bouncing back. But when you go back to Mitchell Trubisky is not the guy. And when you go back to Trubisky, it says to me you're still trying to justify a pick that happened before your head coach. I don't know how Trubisky can be better than Nick Foles. I don't know how that can be possible.
Is there any way to pick in the NFC South against the Saints? Can you do it?
I did not. I can make you a case for the Bucs. I can make you a case for the Falcons. There is no case for the Panthers. But no, I stayed with the chalk. And you'll find in my predictions, like, listen, I've never picked I've never gone 6 for 6. So I don't think I'm going 7 for 7. So there's a bit of math involved in how I played out the wild cards, and just like I did in the AFC that you'll see here in a little bit. But no, I do think there's going to be – it seems way too chalky in the NFC. So there's got to be some teams looming that are going to step up and get it done. I'll give you some of my candidates for it. They're not hugely reflected in the teams I've put down.
All right. Well,
I might change one before we get to it.
NFC West.
Seahawks.
I have the Seahawks too.
Yeah, best quarterback. I mean, it's the only guy that you could even remotely say is on the same tier as Patrick Mahomes. That's a great place to start. Pete Carroll knows how to coach. They know how to play defense. They can run. The one thing I would say that's got to happen is Brian Schottenheimer, another local guy, went to high school about 2 miles from where I'm sitting right now. He's got to open it up, man. He's got. I mean,
I know
the ground and pound is great for like if you're going to go do a high school coaching clinic, but you're trying to win a championship and you have a guy that can make it happen, and you have weapons out there. Like, stop with this trying to run for 190 yards every game. Throw the ball, Jesus.
Yeah. All right, wild card time. It was exciting. I'll go first. I'm going Cardinals. Is that chalky?
No.
Okay.
They may be there on one of my picks. I've got an either or. I'm going to have to cross out one of them when we get to it. I'm going to go 49ers.
All right. I am going to go Packers. I said the recipe's there for an implosion, but it's tough to pick against the 13-3 team the next year not making the playoffs with 7 teams allowed in.
All right. I'm going to go, and I may regret this. Some folks I talked with said that the second half surge is real. They were listening to the wrong people on the defensive side of the ball. They fixed the defense. Offensive line's been invested in heavily. They still have a quarterback. Atlanta Falcons. Yep. I'm going to go Atlanta Falcons. I may regret that heavily, but I do think that the pieces have been there. I don't think they're that far away. I think getting rid of Devontae Freeman and having all that cap room tied up in a running back is a problem. I might regret it. Listen, and I got Ryan's back. I can see the Niners not being in. I've got the Niners on the under, but there's a little bit of math hedge play here. I do think Kyle Shanahan's the real deal. Every single person I talk to in the NFL, everybody I talk to in the NFL loves Kyle Shanahan. Loves Kyle Shanahan. They say he is an absolute rock star. And he absolutely did not lose the Super Bowl. That is just the dumbest shit that has ever been peddled, the most casual, half-baked bullshit that has ever been put out there is that Kyle Shanahan lost the Super Bowl for the 49ers. Jimmy Garoppolo is a pedestrian quarterback. He's a pretty good quarterback. He drew up a play that got Emmanuel Sanders wide open running down the middle of the field. That could have got him the lead back. All right? So Kyle Shanahan is the one thing I'm banking on. I would be all over. I like the Niners under. That might blow up in my face. The Rams put back-to-back seasons together after the surprising season. Then they went to the Super Bowl the next year. I was on the under on the Rams in their Super Bowl year. I'm gonna be on the under on the Niners. I'm kind of hedging my bet on this because everybody I talk to, people I really respect, say Kyle Shanahan is no joke.
All right, last wild card team in the NFC. I'm going Bears.
Are you really?
Yep.
I'm down with that. I got no problem with that. I thought about the Bears. I thought about the Cardinals. And I hate doing it because it's so just bandwagony, but I'm going to go Bucks.
Okay. It's not really that bandwagony to put them in the last spot, though.
Yeah, but
that doesn't mean you're super high in the Buccaneers.
No, I'm not super high on it because I think Tom Brady may be absolutely done, but I think there's so much firepower around him. And I think if they just don't make mistakes, their defense is going to look a lot better. I think Bruce Arians can coach. I think Brady can manage a game, and that's what he's going to do. So I'll put the Bucks in there. But I do like the Cardinals and Bears as teams that could really surprise some folks.
I'm counting on Matt Nagy to smarten up and actually use Mitch Trubisky like a white Vince Young or another white in Josh Allen. Run the goddamn ball with the guy. Get him outside. Get him 8 to 10 carries a game. That's where he can't sit in the pocket. He sucks.
Well,
you know what? If it doesn't work, then I hope they quickly go, it ain't working, get the Foles, because now they've got an option behind him. So I have the Bears in on that hope that they figured it out offensively.
I think
run the right offense.
Again, everybody in Kansas City in that organization just glows. Matt Nagy, they have nothing but positive things to say about the guy. I will say this. The one thing I was thinking was, okay, if you go Foles and he struggles and you got to go back to Trubisky, there's no lift. Right? If you go to Trubisky, you get like 2 chances. One, maybe it finally all clicks. It won't. But if you go then to Nick Foles, there's a lift. Okay, here comes the Super Bowl champion. If Foles fails first, and he only played a half of football last year, really in anger, right, when the Jags thought they could be something, and he was playing really well against the Chiefs before he got knocked out of that game in the opener. But Foles at least gives you the lift, and I think it'll be a super quick hook. Trubisky's got to hit the ground running, and then they will go to Foles.
This is a good question. If the Bucs don't make the playoffs, is Arians gone? I don't think they would fire Arians, but I could also see him just, killing himself from a health standpoint. And I'm not making fun of it. He's a guy who he's a lunatic that he could just walk after the year. But yeah, my cutting room floor for the NFC real quick.
Wait, let me just on that one.
Yeah.
That's the question that should be asked of Tom Brady. Unless Tom Brady is shit.
Yep.
Then if Tom Brady says Arians is the guy I came down here to play for, then Arians will be back. So that's up to Tom Brady.
So the Bucs are on my cutting room floor. The Rams don't make it, and I don't have the Niners in the playoffs at all.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. I mean, listen, teams that make big runs without Hall of Fame caliber quarterbacks are always subject to big setbacks. It's why John Harbaugh, 2 years ago, when they were talking about firing John Harbaugh, I said this is the biggest group of dumb shits that have ever lived if they fire John Harbaugh. You consistently win playoffs, get to playoffs, and then win playoff games, and win playoff games on the road with Joe Flacco, and then even win a Super Bowl. No, he has a lifetime contract to coach football. John Harbaugh is that good because he's overcome the quarterback position to the point of winning division titles against a quarterback in Ben Roethlisberger, winning playoff games on the road, and winning even a Super Bowl and beating Hall of Fame quarterbacks. John Harbaugh can flat out coach. Jimmy Garoppolo may end up being the Joe Flacco of our time consistently in the playoffs, but it'll be because Kyle Shanahan is as good as everybody tells me he is.
All right, what do you got for a Super Bowl pick?
Chiefs over Saints. I picked it for 3 straight years. I think it's fair. The Eagles are the team I was thinking about putting in there. There's no one – like if you want to say, I just want to be different, okay, there is no reason whatsoever to write down any team other than the Chiefs unless you're just trying to pull the upset. Right? If you're in some kind of contest, you're like, everybody's going to have the Chiefs. I got to go different and hope I get lucky to get there. Fine. But if you want to be right on a prediction, the Kansas City Chiefs absolutely are hands down. I don't want to hear any shit about the Ravens being right there. They're not. Despite both of them having 11.5 win totals, they're not. Despite 538 coming out today and saying they're like 1% apart on every level of making the playoffs, winning the division, all this, that's bullshit. They are the only pick in the AFC. And in the NFC, I think it's Saints or it's Eagles or it's Seahawks or you get out of town. If you don't have the quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo's happen.
Yeah.
Right? They happen, but you don't predict them to happen. Right? It just occurs. So pick one of the quarterbacks. I would listen to the Cowboys. I would listen to Dak Prescott.
All right. Brady, homer, but he's right. Ray says, where is it, Ray? There he is. You're out of your mind to just dismiss the Ravens. So
I'm not dismissing them. I'm just saying they're not on the same level. Listen, let me be clear. The Ravens absolutely can beat the Kansas City Chiefs. They absolutely can beat the Chiefs, as can a number of other teams. This does not mean the Chiefs are going to win. Like, to be the favorite, 538 has the Chiefs as the favorite. They have them 14% chance to win the Super Bowl. Pro Football Focus has the Chiefs the favorite. They have them 21% to win the Super Bowl. That means 4 out of 5 times they don't win it. So this is about math, okay? This isn't about homerism. And I'm going to tell you the reason why I'm telling you the Chiefs are going to be it, because I spent years saying, no, Matt Castle can beat the Ravens. Bullshit. He couldn't beat the Ravens. No, Alex Smith can win 3 games in a row against playoff teams. Bullshit. He can't win 3 games in a row against playoff teams. If you do not have the man under center, you don't pick him. And like, do exceptions happen? Yes. But there's a reason why the Patriots went to 9 Super Bowls, won 6 of them, and played in every other except for 1 or 2 conference championship games. They had the man under center. I hate to say it, but the NFL is not that complicated. It's kind of fucking boring when it gets to picking the playoff teams. It's the quarterback.
I'm going Ravens and Seahawks.
Okay.
So I think head-to-head, they'll find a way to win. I can't guarantee it, but I do believe the Seahawks are loaded. They will play the right way, and I'm not going to pick against Russell Wilson. So
I made a bet last year in season when the Chiefs were 6-4, maybe they were 7-4 with Jeff Chadilla from NFL Network, and I said, "Listen, the Ravens. I don't want to hear it. I've seen this movie a million times. It's called Marty Schottenheimer football, and you know what happens? Run out to a big regular season record, and then shit your pants in the playoffs and act like you got snake bit. Bullshit. You cannot beat 3 or 4 playoff teams in a row by running the ball. It will not happen. At some point, you will be down, and you have to throw the ball, and you have to be able to throw the ball when the other team knows you're going to throw the ball. And the Ravens couldn't do it last year. Now, I give Lamar Jackson every opportunity to be better and become a better passer. But until I see it, I won't buy it. They're a trick offense with a great head coach, all right, and a very good coaching staff and some very good talent, and they're absolutely a threat to the Chiefs. And if the Chiefs aren't going to go, the Ravens would be the pick that I would have there. But in the end, what's going to happen? You're going to come down to a game. There's going to be 3 minutes to go in the game. It's going to be a one-score game. And who's your money on? Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes? He's 2-0 against Lamar Jackson. So there's no reason when we're sitting here predicting to predict the Ravens. There is no math in the world. There is no precedent in the world that says the Baltimore Ravens running for 200 yards a game are going to run their way to a Super Bowl. It hasn't happened in like 20 fucking years. So spare me.
All right, we will see. Over under wins. Win totals. You got 3?
I got me. I got a boatload. I got 12, but I'll say this. I'll take the Ravens under the 11.5. Right. I don't think Lamar Jackson plays 16 games playing the way they were. And I think the way they played. See, my theory is they took Lamar Jackson and they have no intention of giving him a long contract, that they're going to play him. They're going to franchise him a couple times. They're going to play him until he's broken. And they're going to say, listen, we're going to pitch backwards. Everyone else throws the fastball. We're going to do the changeup. And we're going to do it, and we're going to run him into the ground, and we're not going to try to save him. We're going to play this way until he can't play that way anymore. And I think that's a brilliant strategy because he's cheap, so they can put a ton of talent around him, and they're different. They're the changeup, and it's a tough matchup when the quarterback runs the way he runs. So I do like the strategy they're doing, but I don't think you can consistently win 12 games, which is what you've got to do to go over. I think that is a consistent 9 to 11 win strategy. So I'll take the Ravens under. You want me to go all 3 of mine?
Yeah, keep going.
Okay. The Kansas City Chiefs under Andy Reid have gone over every single time. Now, they've always been underestimated every single year. Till last year, they were 10.5. That was probably the number they should have had. Andy Reid still delivered the over. You got the best quarterback and the best coach. The math is, the numbers are, you can't get up to 12.5. They never push it up behind 11.5. Patriots finally got a 12, I think, a couple of times late. But the math just tells you run it 10,000 times, it's always going to drag you back to the middle. And reality is the quarterback and the coach push you beyond it. The Chiefs are a 14-2 team, so I'll take the Chiefs over and take the Chiefs over until they get to like 15 on the scale, because Andy Reid's covered it every time with the Kansas City Chiefs. And for my other over, I will take – I had one written down. I want to check, make sure I haven't changed my mind and gotten bullish on somebody else more. I will go – because Kyle Shanahan scares me, I was going to go Niners under. Under is my play on the Niners, but I'm going to go ahead and take the Steelers. I'm going to take the Colts over 9.5.
Wow, that's aggressive. Even though I haven't picked for the division too, but
I'm going to take the Colts over.
Okay.
Steelers are a contender. Steelers over a contender. 49ers under are a contender for it. Pats over just on the Belichick history, and Browns over are all contenders. I don't like any of the. The 5 and 6 win teams are kind of scary propositions for me. Redskins under seems good, but actually they got pretty good quarterback play for the last 3 or 4 weeks, and so Haskins could make it happen. They've got options there at quarterback. I think the Jags are a team that's going to grind out some wins, so I think that's a scary proposition there. So yeah, give me the Colts over, give me the Chiefs over, and give me the Ravens under.
All right. You stole the Chiefs from me because I was going to go over, even though I didn't pick them to win the Super Bowl, but I was going to go over. I won't do that because I won't duplicate picks.
Why? Go ahead.
Nope. I like other.
Now you're just setting up to have an excuse for when you shit the bed.
No, not at all. I have 5 or 6 that I like. And And when I first looked at my list, I was like, way too bullish. Fuck this.
Well, too many overs?
Yep. I like
have too many overs too. I will tell you that right now. I don't like that.
But I am going to go with an over to start. And I am going to take the Jaguars over 4.5. So
okay. I'm down with that.
I think you can do all you want to tank for Trevor. You're going to win some games. Unless Marone has been guaranteed another year, which he has not. There's no way. He's going to try. And like the drop off from Fournette to the next running backs is not going to be that big. And I think Minshew's decent. I don't think he's I don't want him as my franchise freaking quarterback, but I think for another year or even a bridge year, he's okay.
I think he's decent. I think Ngakoue is overrated, right? He's a fine player, but defensive ends that get 9 sacks, like you should. You're out there one-on-one. That's what you're supposed to do. It's like the minimum requirement to continue to have your job. And so losing him, I don't think is going to be the end of the world. Calais Campbell is a big loss, but this team smells like the Dolphins. Everybody thought the Dolphins may not win a game, and they went over. This smells exactly like the Dolphins.
I picked the Dolphins last year, and then, you know what's great? They were like 4 or 3.5. They get out of the gates. It was the first 2 weeks. They sucked balls. They readjust the over-under numbers here in Vegas and some of the books, and they dropped them to like 1.5, and I was like, let's go. And I was like, I am all over the over on that one. All right. I didn't think the Broncos were going to be good to begin with. I thought 7.5 is ridiculous. Now they've got cluster injuries with Miller down and Brad Chubb. Okay. Who knows how much he's going to play, when he's going to play. Drew Lock blows. He's not going to be an elite quarterback. So I'll go under the 7.5 there. I think that's a freaking gift. Okay. And I'm going to go with another under. I just don't buy Baker Mayfield, man. I'm sorry. And even with a new coach, I don't think he can fix all the problems. Odell Beckham's a pain in the ass. 8.5. They could maybe get 8 wins, but I feel pretty confident they'll be at like 7, 6. So I'll go under. So I'm going to go Browns under, Broncos under, and Jags over. Other things I like. I think the Panthers are going to overachieve. I think Matt Rule is going to be a really good coach. And the number is only 5.5. Since I picked the Cardinals to win.
Can I jump in there before you machine gun me on this?
Yeah.
Rule better be a good coach.
Oh, yeah.
They paid him more than Andy Reid.
Yeah.
Now, Reid's, I'm sure, at 12, 13, 14, 15 million now with his new 6-year deal, which he has not confirmed, so the deal's not done. Well, shit, it's because that's Andy Reid because he's waiting for his lawyers to figure it all out. But he's going to get paid. But Rule better be good. And I tend to be with you because he did a remarkable turnaround with Baylor. But sometimes you can be great in college and suck in the pros. If he doesn't get the quarterback right, and Teddy Bridgewater is a stopgap guy.
That's fine. 6 wins. I got to get 6 wins.
Okay. Where are you on the Bengals?
I'm not confident to go over.
No, I would go over. I'd stay away. All right, give me the other ones you like.
And I said Cardinals over 7.5. I haven't making the playoffs, so they got to go over 7.5. And I would go Bucks under, but it's not. I don't think they're going to win 6 games, but I would go under the 9.5.
Okay, so I like the Jags. Is that all of them?
That's all mine, yeah.
I like the Jags over. I like the Cardinals over. I've got them fighting around for a playoff. I clearly like the Falcons over. I didn't want to just duplicate having the Falcons in the playoffs, so I picked one of the other ones. And by the way, you know how I do it. I bet somewhere between 10 and 15 of these. Yep. And I think you splash money around. You're usually, if you're in tune with the NFL, you'll do well on these. If you bet 15 of them, you'll go, 9, 5, and 1 or something. So I love totals bets. So Jags over, Cardinals over, Falcons over, Texans over, Browns over. Like I keep saying over. That's the one thing that might scare me away from, like, you need to clear your head and take a year off. You're too locked in and following too many other people. Patriots over, Vikings under, Colts over, Steelers over, Niners under, Chiefs over, Ravens under.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to punch up the make miss prop because we're going to pick 2 or 3 of these.
Okay.
And basically, this prop is they have numbers for missing the playoffs. So, and we're going to base these bets on you're betting 100 or you're betting to win 100. So, I mean, if you want to risk 1,800 on the Chiefs to make the playoffs to win 100, you can do it. I mean,
if you got the money sitting around to make, what is it, less than a little, what, 6 or 7% return on holding $1,800 for 6 months? It's like the market makes on average 8%. So, it's 2% and there's more risk on this. Patrick Mahomes goes down, or Andy Reid gets COVID, or there's a COVID infestation. What are the rules on these with the COVID?
On make miss, I got to look up how many games you have to play, and the same thing goes for the 16-game season. We'll look it up. I got to see what the rules are. Which the COVID thing, I factored into a lot of the individual numbers, but let's race through these if we can. You want to pick 3 make miss or 2? What do you want to do?
Whatever you want. I'll give you. I've got a line by 4. I've got a bunch of circles, but 4 that I was going to commit to.
I have 3, and I'll punch up my list here, and you can see it in yellow if you can read it, if it's not too small. So my make miss bets are Bills plus 145 to miss, Bears plus 155 to make, and then further down the list at the bottom here, Bucks plus 180 to miss.
Okay, so you said pick 2, and let me tell you that I don't like these bets as much. I think there can be some value, but I definitely would play 3 of them.
Okay.
And I would be dog to mild favorite, right? That's where I would play on it. Like, I have the Chiefs circled at minus 1,800. I literally think that they are about as close as it gets. But, like, what's the point of tying up that kind of money? Like no matter what you are, if you're a $100 player and you have $4,000 or $5,000 that you're going to splash around during the course of the year, you're going to tie up, close to 40% of it on waiting on a $100 return. That's just an ass idea. So I'm with you on that one. I'll tell you what I have circled. I would probably roll. I like the value on the Falcons at plus 215. So I think that's good value. So I would take the Falcons at plus 215. I don't know that it's going to come in, but I think there's actually a decent chance because I think the Steelers are back and the Browns are good. The Ravens at plus 440. If I get it, I can see an 8-8 or a 9-7. I can see Lamar Jackson getting hurt and the whole COVID specter of it. So if you think there's a heavy favorite that actually isn't near the favorite they are, you get great value. So I'm going to bet plus 440 on the Ravens not to make it, knowing full well that it might be a 50-50 proposition. It might be 60-40 they do, but the value there is too good. So Falcons plus 215 to make it, Ravens plus 440 to not make it, and then put me down for I know what I've got a line by, but put me down for the Steelers at minus 170. I'm very bullish on the Steelers.
All right.
Give me the Steelers to make it at minus 170. I don't like laying 170. That's more than I really want to lay. But I do think with the extra wild card, the Steelers are going to be there. Defense, Mike Tomlin, Roethlisberger. If Roethlisberger goes down, that's the problem.
Yeah.
They're shite at that point.
And Adam's brother, Ryan, who used to book bets, worked at a sports book. Way too much juice. Leave that shit alone. And then he said, Bill 190. He's saying in general, no, that the splits are way too big. That the odds are not great on this. Here's the thing, Ryan. We're doing this for shits and giggles. I'm not betting totals. I'm not giving anyone my money. Win totals. I'm not giving anyone my money for 5 months. I know you play them.
On win totals, you won't?
I won't do it now.
Oh, I absolutely will.
I do futures. I'll do a fun future every once in a while, but I'm not dropping a ton of money.
Oh, let's see. Like, you can't, if you got like one that you think is great, no. But if you know the NFL, like, the one thing I've always wanted to do is like bet all 32, and I'll bet you I win 20 of them.
Okay.
Now the problem is some of them are laying. You get around. It's like, okay, we're at minus 240, right? By the time you get to them. Because, like, you can grab the line value early, but then you don't know the injuries that are going to happen leading up to it. That could leave you totally exposed from getting better line value early. So that's why I don't bet all 32. But I usually, like I said, I'll bet between 10 and 15, 16 of them, and I've never had a losing year.
All right. There you go. So there's some good advice on those plays versus
but can I say this? The other reason you do it, if you bet $20, if you only got a few $100, whatever you're comfortable, like you should not be betting something that you're shitting your pants all year.
Right.
But the entertainment value for me, that's one of the great entertainment values, because if you've got the Steelers over and that's one of the 3 o'clock games or your time 1 o'clock games, like you're invested in the Steelers, it gives you a reason to watch a game.
All right, let's do some special props real quick, okay?
Let's go.
Which second-year quarterback will win more games during the regular season? Again, you're betting 100, so if you want to go for a long shot, you do it. Which second-year quarterback will win more games during the regular season? Daniel Jones plus 150, Kyler Murray 2-1, Drew Lock 3-1, Dwayne Haskins 5-1.
Explain these odds to me, please.
Do you need me to?
No, not that I'm not saying I can't figure out how odds work.
To me,
I'm familiar with that.
I'm not a Giants guy, so I don't think Daniel Jones should be the favorite.
Well, that's my point. Is this just like New York bettors are going to bet for their team, and so that's what we've got here is New York money? There's so many New York transplants, there's so many New York tourists, there's so many. Is that what that is? Because there is no reason.
Giants win total is 6.
Right.
Cardinals is 7.5.
Right.
Why would Murray be behind unless they're expecting like a
Denver's is 7.5, Steve.
Yeah, and Denver's 7.5. Are they expecting a run injury on the part of Kyler Murray? I mean,
I will tell you, if you're a believer in Drew Lock, and there are some that are, and I think there's a reason to be, there's ceiling there. He's the one guy that we haven't seen, really crap himself. He went, what did he go, 3-1 as a starter at the end? They do have injuries. You pointed out Von Miller going down is a big problem. Melvin Gordon will be hurt in about 20 minutes. Lock is the value play if you're a believer. Murray is by this board the only option. And Daniel Jones, I can't figure out how this jibes with the totals. Like, I'm fine with Daniel Jones. If he doesn't fumble the ball, and I think he's got some people to throw the ball to, and he's got Saquon Barkley, I'm not convinced about the rest of the team, but I can't figure out these odds.
These are global odds too. It's not a FanDuel or DraftKings in the New York area. Okay. So these are actually a global book. It's an offshore book that put these up. So I'm going to take Kyler Murray at 2-1.
Okay, me too.
All right, next up, exotic prop. I thought this one was really hard. First quarterback to be benched during the 2020 regular season. Your choices, and I'll read the odds off after we select them. I guess I can read them at the bottom. Haskins is the favorite. Fitzpatrick is next. Trubisky, Darnold, Tyrod Taylor, Cam Newton, Gardner Minshew, Phillip Rivers, Aaron Rodgers.
And these are
Rivers is 14-1. Haskins the favorite at plus 150 to be benched first.
Okay, so like Aaron Rodgers is thrown in there for shits and giggles, right?
Right.
Because they drafted a quarterback in the first round. And again, it's bench, not hurt, correct? That's
benched. Yep.
Okay. So, and these are active now. These are the current numbers now. Correct. This isn't like a month ago where we hadn't heard if Cam Newton had been named the starter yet, right?
I got the email yesterday.
Okay. So, Cam Newton at 7-1 is not happening. Who's the backup for the Jaguars?
Fuck, man, I got to look it up.
Exactly. Here. That's not happening. That's all I needed. I don't even care.
Woo! Look at this screw. Who is Jake Luton and then Mike Glennon?
Yeah, no.
Who? What?
Is Mike Glennon the NC State 6'8" guy?
Yeah, he was with the Raiders last year and got the 3-year deal from the Bears.
Yeah, so no. Phillip Rivers is not getting benched. Aaron Rodgers is not getting benched.
Oregon State quarterback is the backup.
So they would make a switch if Cam Newton sucks, but they know what they've got and they'll coach him the right way. Tyrod Taylor is the first place where it gets interesting. And you don't take a guy 6th to sit him forever. Now, Patrick Mahomes having the apprenticeship year gives every head coach the right to leave him for a year. I know you wouldn't take him because you believe that Anthony Lynn has wanted Tyrod Taylor. He wants Tyrod Taylor quarterback. He wants to run the ball, and he wants to, play defense. And I'm kind of with you. Darnold, Jets fans, you tell me, think he's good. think he's about ready to break out.
I think he's incomplete because he's had no weapons, or he's had limited weapons each year. Okay. And again, they have no backup. So Joe Flacco is hurt, and then it's James Morgan. They're invested in him, dude. He's playing.
So to me, I mean, the odds are adjusted properly. There are 3 quarterbacks. You're not taking Dwayne Haskins because there's no value, and the owner likes him.
And there's no backup who can play.
Well, Alex Smith theoretically can play.
Can he?
They kept him on the roster.
I know.
But maybe that's the owner saying you'll keep him there because I don't want to look like a fool.
Right.
But the owner likes Haskins. And Haskins, like, you need to go back. People need to go back and look. He wasn't bad.
Yeah.
At the end.
Also, you can't take a guy in the top 20, let him start in the second half of the season, and then blow him out in the first half of the next season. That's ridiculous. Ron Rivera knows this is. They got to let him play the whole year, make a decision on him, so they're not going to bench him. I think the easy choice is based on the Dolphins' schedule. The Dolphins have 4 of their first 6 on the road. Come on, the future is Tua. When he's ready, he's ready.
Yep.
I think a lot of those lists are not getting benched for a long time, so I'm going to go with Fitzy's the second choice at plus 225, so I'll go with him.
I'm on Fitzpatrick as well. To me, it came down. I have 2 lines: Fitzpatrick or Trubisky. Fitzpatrick is where I'll put my money.
Now watch what I do here. These are special player props. We'll go rapid fire. I'm playing the odds, okay? How many starts will Tua get? Over, under 8.5.
So what are you hedging this other bet and you're going under? Because I'm going over.
I'm going to go under.
Why?
Yes. Because the Dolphins could also get off to a decent start, could be intoxicated by the fact that they're winning a little bit. And I'm also going to I also have to hedge with, is Tua healthy?
Well, first of all, I would not bet the Fitzpatrick bet. That is not a bet I would make.
Right.
So I made every bet individual of itself. And I do think Tua is going to get the job. I think Fitzpatrick's going to come out and they're going to let him take a lump somewhere, and then Tua is going to get the job. So I think Tua starts like about 10 games.
All right. Renee says under. Ryan says over on Tua. How many starts for Justin Herbert? Over, under 6.5 starts.
Like, I'm kind of with you. I've got under because I don't think Herbert's that good, and I think they know it.
Yeah.
I think they know he's not that good, and I don't think you can go to him. I think they're probably right now realizing, holy shit, what do we do here?
Yep. The under from Adam Hill, who is Ty God Stan. He loves freaking Ty Taylor.
Where are you?
I went under.
Okay.
Henry Ruggs, over under 720.5 yards. 12th pick is not going to get 720 yards, 21 yards. I went over, but only because, 1, Adam seems to love him. He covers the Raiders. 2, they did lose one of their weapons in Tyrell Williams.
Bingo. That's where I'm at.
So
I would have listened to an under if Tyrell Williams was there. Waller, Williams, that's a couple of other options. They got a back that they can throw the ball to out of the backfield. They've got a lot of other places that they can send the ball, and the quarterback's not that good. So I would have been all over the under. But when Tyrell Williams goes down, Ruggs bumps up on the chart. And,
I mean, 50 catches, 750 yards. I don't think that's crazy.
McCole Hardman was almost, he was over 600 last year, and he was a later second round pick, and he was a speed guy. And I think the Raiders are trying to imitate the Chiefs.
All right, here we go. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They actually split it up. Boy, how is my 1,700 over-under looking with Sean, with Casey Flatlander? They have total rushing yards and they have total receiving yards. They add up to what? 1,375? 1,375, but they split it up to rushing over-under 929.5 yards for Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
So yeah, I told you when we were talking about it that I thought 1,500 is a real number, but the shit talk that was going on, we put it at 1,700. I think the betting number is this is calling the yards from scrimmage, which is what we were talking about. 1,370, 1,375 is what this is. I think that's fair. And at 1,375, if you give me a total yards option, I would take the over on 1,375.
All right.
Okay. On the total yards. On rushing yards, I think it's going to be here's the problem. It should be more of a committee on pounding the rock, But Andy Reid likes to have a back, and he rides him into the ground, and then he's like, oh, they're hurt, so what? Give me the next guy. Instead of being like, I'll use this guy for this, this guy for this, this guy for this, this guy for this. Let's get them all to the playoffs healthy and have all the weapons. He's like, that's one place that I think he needs to grow as a head coach is use all of his weapons. And so I'm torn by this. What this number should be under 929.5 if used properly. And I think there will be a little bit of an evolution here in Andy Reid as a head coach, and it will go under the 929.5 rushing.
I'm going under. Receiving 445.5.
Over.
I went under. Tell me why over.
Okay, because I talked to a personnel guy. There's several personnel guys I talked to in the league. I always break down the Chiefs draft picks with them. And one of them said, we had this guy rated just a tick below Christian McCaffrey. They said, we see him as the same type of guy. And him going to the Chiefs is our worst nightmare. And they said, they're going to use him like we would use him. Our plan was if we got him. Now, we didn't want to take a running back that high. And they said, we're kind of surprised the Chiefs took a running back that high. But if we got him, like he was going to catch the ball a lot. He receives well. And I think that's an Andy Reid. If you're going to play running back for Andy Reid, you have to be able to catch the ball. And so I think if there is any kind of division of use, Darrell Williams may pound the rock more than people realize. Darwin Thompson is a guy that they liked in Kansas City, but this is the kid who's going to catch the ball.
Personnel guy rhymes with. No, we can't give it away. Brady always tries.
You wouldn't know him. You wouldn't know him.
And I went under on the 445. Tom Brady total touchdown passes.
Stone cold under.
Regular season.
Make it 4. I mean, listen.
29. Well, let me read the number. 29.5.
Yeah, but any number that they would post, you have to take under because everybody's going to pound the over, but he's 43 years old. Like he is going to get hurt. The odds are he should have been hurt for the last 3 years. Those odds don't change this year because he's defied those odds in recent years. He's got a head coach that I think will tweak what he does, but he likes to throw the ball downfield, which means Brady's got to hold the ball longer, which means he's going to take more hits, and your bones and ligaments and muscles do not react to that kind of pounding as well. He figures to get hurt. Now, here's my question is, I've seen these two ways. Does he have to play 16?
No.
Okay.
Whatever happens in the season, yeah.
Whatever happens in the season. Absolutely stone cold under. Don't get anywhere near the over, you're a jackass.
Yeah, I went under as well. Pat Mahomes, over under. And by the way, Brady has been under 29.5 3 of the last 4 years, and he's played. Less weapons, but he's played. Pat Mahomes, over under 36.5 touchdowns.
Over.
Okay, I'm going under, and I'm basing it on your advice. Going back a few months in your discussion of Pat Mahomes being a little too adventurous at times and does take risks that maybe he shouldn't, and there could be an injury. I'll tell you the other thing on a lot of these numbers. I don't know how to calculate it because it's a wild guess, but COVID is going to be a nightmare on some teams, so I'm not going bullish on a lot of these offensive numbers.
No, you could probably take under across the board and say, listen, at some point there's going to be a baseball MLB-like outbreak on one of these teams. So if I'm on the under on everything, I'm in a pretty good position. I'm fair with that, but I'm going to tell you here's a reason to go over on Mahomes. Now, whether this is true or not, who knows? He is supposedly militaristic on nobody comes in the house.
Oh, really?
And his brother, who lives with him at times or all the time, if he leaves the house, he's got to get tested.
Is that right?
He is supposedly 100%. Now, this may be PR bullshit, right? Like I don't go to Patrick Mahomes' house, so I can't tell you. But the word is that he is absolutely resolute in that this is the guy that is 100% committed to the craft. He's the Tom Brady. He is about winning football games. That's what makes him tick. And from that standpoint, I think if anybody's going to make it, it's going to be him. Now, I will tell you what scares me is –
hold on. Guess what's coming? Because Brady loves this just as much as I do. Guess what's coming?
I
see how much fun she has on these boats and hanging out with her friends. And
that's a great point.
Lot of friends in those Instagram pictures. A lot of friends.
Right?
Are they all getting tested? Are they all being responsible? Or are they all acting like 18-year-olds?
Yeah, no, it's a fair point. It's a fair point. And I don't know. So yeah, listen, the COVID thing is a reason.
Yeah.
If you're leaning under, then go under because the COVID thing helps you out.
Yep. Last three offensive numbers.
Okay.
Lamar Jackson over under 929.5 yards rushing. He had over 1,000 last year.
He had over 1,200 last year.
Over 1,200.
Stone cold under.
I agree.
COVID
Even though
beat up.
On the Ravens.
Defense is ready for it. Like, how many times does a quarterback run for more than 930 yards? It's probably like 5 or 6 times ever. Just because he's done it once does not improve the odds of that. Like, I'll take him running for more than 930 over Brady, yes. But still, 930 is a ridiculous number. And at some point, you got to believe. And I'll give the Ravens huge props. If he runs for 1,200 again, then see what I said earlier. They're all in on they're going to run the shit out of him until he breaks down, and then they're going to walk away when they got to pay him.
I went under. Cam Newton, 3,525.5 yards passing. Come on now.
You went under?
Yes, of course.
Over.
Really? Wow. This is the bold prediction of the night.
Don't you think that number is way too high?
It is way too high. Am I being sucked in? Like, is that one of these where you're like, hey, how's the book putting up something so easy?
No, you're not being sucked in because the COVID thing is real, because he's been hurt, because there's injuries. I would not make this bet. But if I'm going to have to pick a side, I think that number seems too high. It smells fishy. And I think Vegas, I think the Patriots are going to do a better job with Cam Newton than people realize. I got the Pats winning the division. I think he throws for around 4,000 yards. Listen, who doesn't throw for 4,000 yards right now? If he plays 16 games, he should throw for 4,000 yards.
Cam has thrown for 4,000 yards once in his career.
How many times has he thrown for over 35-25?
2 other times.
Okay.
He's had 3 3,500-plus yard seasons in his 8 full seasons.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now he goes to play with Josh McDaniels. And he learns the art of the dink and dunk.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to change.
I don't think he's going to stay healthy. I think what you're saying about Lamar Jackson, they're going to do with Cam Newton. That's how they're going to win, is to get him on the edges and use him as a goddamn fullback at times. And listen, Carolina took a lot out of him.
I agree with that. I don't think so. Like, if you had a Cam rushing total, I'll take the under on whatever number they post. But I think they will throw it down the field and he will run it in the end zone. That's what I think they'll do with him.
Okay. Law guy Josh says can't go over a bet on any individual players. Unders only. Last one. Rob Gronkowski. Man, this is low. Let's look up Gronk numbers over the years. But anyway, receiving yards 575.5.
Where do you go?
I went under.
I went under.
Yep. Why?
Cameron Braid, OJ
Howard.
Howard, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans got a hamstring injury already. A couple of backs out of the backfield. I mean, Leonard Fournette's not a third down back, but he catches it better than people realize. Ronald Jones is the guy that can catch the ball. There's just too many mouths to feed there. I mean, and Tom Brady wants to win. I don't think he's going to give it to Gronk because Gronk's his guy. No way.
So to the point that law guy, I can't say it. Law guy Josh.
I get to make
right with the autoplay.
All the people in the neighborhood happy.
Fucking ESPN.
What was
that? Let's see. How many stats did we did? Let's see. 3. I don't know. We did like 9. I went under on 8. Only one I went over on was Ruggs, and actually I didn't even back it up with the best point. Who had it earlier? Where's Q Levy? Q had a really good point. I think it was about Ruggs.
We did 10.
We did 10, so I went under on 9.
At 10, I went under on 2, 4, 5. God, that sucks.
Yeah.
Well, but see, a lot of these I wouldn't play, but.
Yeah, Q Levy was saying earlier with Ruggs and the Raiders. I think he was talking about him, that they're going to be behind a lot, going to be in shootouts. So Ruggs will get the ball. But that was the only one.
Gronk has gone under. You asked the question on Gronk? I want to answer that question.
He's actually over 575.5. He's gone over a bunch.
He's gone over it.
Yeah, most of his career.
Most of his career, but let me say this: for under 700.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4 out of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 4 out of 10. He's been injury prone, and he's not getting any younger.
And this number actually went down. I think when it came out, it was 599.5. So now it's down to 575.5.
Yeah, people are pounding the under, as you should.
All right, so there you go. All the selections. I'll post those up on our LV Sports Network website in Vegas, and we'll track it along with Adam Hill's picks and some of the other guys from Cofield and Company. I have a really important question, though, for just like 5 minutes here. How am I going to watch the NFL this year? If I don't want to go to bars, and right now I really don't have the option of having many bars that are open, how do I watch it? How do I get DirecTV but not sign up for DirecTV? How do I get the Sunday ticket without signing up for friggin' DirecTV?
Well, you know my deal, right? I was prepared to drop it, and then they dropped Trow on price, and I was just going to be like, I'm going to have to live without it. Who knows if we're going to have an NFL season, so if I got to just watch the games that are on over-the-air TV, then I'll watch the games that are on over-the-air TV. But they dropped Trow on my price, and they dropped Trow on they gave me the Sunday ticket for free. Now, I've been a customer for over 20 years, so I'm not saying everybody's going to get that. If you've had it for 2 years and you think you're going to get it, I don't know that you're going to get it, but there are a million different online places to legally scoop the game.
But I'm not doing that. I've invested in TVs. I'm not going with skippy screens and freezing and all that shit. So is that what I'm asking is, without a DirecTV subscription, there is no way to get the Sunday ticket. Is that still the situation?
Yes.
This is outrageous in 2000.
You can watch the games after the fact because I have like the NFL.com.
I have that too. I sign up because I sign up for the audio package, which gives you the video package so that the Vast Sound crew, because I don't cut any sound, the Vast Sound crew can actually go back and get highlights and sound. But I have that. But no, here's the thing. I live with a big NFL fan. I live with someone who wants to watch lots of games, who wants to watch the Chargers. She's freaking out right now because she knows, like, we can't, if the bars don't open, the few bars that actually have the space to go and watch, you're going to have to get there like friggin' 8 a.m.
Yeah, but you, like, how many bars, like, for me, are they outside?
What do you mean?
Do they have like patio seating where you can
sit? No one does that here. It's still too hot in September.
Yeah, but it's perfect in
COVID times, yes.
Yeah, in November. No, in November, December, October, November at least. It's perfect.
Okay, is this true or not? YouTube TV?
No, YouTube TV just added NFL. I was told added NFL Network and the Red Zone, but they do not have the Sunday ticket. Is my understanding. I may be wrong. Razorback may have something on me, but my understanding is no. It's Red Zone and NFL Network.
What is DirecTV Max? What is that? By the way, I'm not trying to be a smartass. I'm like, she's breathing down my neck. I really need to find an option here because I was talking about the numbers with her, and I'm like, all right. The problem with DirecTV is if I sign up, I'll get the Sunday ticket for free, but then it's at least a 1-year minimum contract, right?
I'm sure it is on that.
No, I mean on a DirecTV subscription. Yeah. And then even if I get the minimum package, I still have to get more receivers, and the Suns charge you for receivers.
First of all, you can't get the minimum package. Like, to be eligible, you gotta get in. Then you gotta buy the sports pack, which is like $9 or $10, and then the Sunday ticket's like $400 because by the time you get do you want it in HD? Well, that's an extra charge. And then you want the max because if you don't have the max,
2-year contract.
Yeah.
So then, like, literally the cheapest I can get away with is probably like $130 a month. So I'm now doing 24 months at $130.
And how many?
Now we're looking at friggin' a $2,700 investment to watch the NFL next year. Or
so how many TVs? How many receivers? Because you can have.
I'm only going to get. The max I would get is 3. I would only set up one. I have a 3 TV wall. Right. I don't have one like Petro. He's got a nicer wall. But I would get a 3 TV wall.
All right, so then you're looking at $7 a month for the second and third receiver. So that's 14 for that.
Yep.
The sports pack is like $10. So you're at 24 for that. Like, so I'm giving you what you're going to get hit with on top of whatever the advertising.
That's why I got rid of it. That's why I cut the cord. I couldn't take it anymore.
And to be eligible for the sports pack, you can't buy the minimum TV package, I don't think. So I think you're going to be at like 70 or 80 plus, like I'm saying, like 25. So you're going to be like $130 minimum. And my guess is the Sunday ticket will be free for 1 year and you'll pay for it the second year.
Yep. Oh, I had DirecTV for like 10 years and they never offered it for free. And people are like, just call up and they'll give you stuff for free. I'm like, they don't give me anything for free. Now I'm a prick. Yeah, exactly. I understand. But so what? I got to be nice on the phone to be rewarded.
They don't give me anything for free. And now this is it. I was fine. I literally was ready to go. I have my guys at Applause Custom Sight and Sound, little plug for Kansas City company that's a sponsor and does phenomenal work. And they were ready to go. And I waited right up to the week that they were here. And I was ready to just switch to YouTube TV and live. I had YouTube TV for a while, and it was $50. They raised it to $65. I was looking to like get Sling with it, and then Sling didn't have the regional networks, and then they lost the NFL network, and then YouTube TV's getting like all this shit. And DirecTV said, "Okay, we'll bring you down to where they were in the ballpark of what it was going to cost me to get 2 different streaming services to get all the channels I wanted, and then I got the Sunday ticket for free."
Oh God!
And I have no contract. But I've been with them for 20 years. I used to have 7 receivers, and I dropped 3 of them.
This is a nightmare. I thought someone would have a good option. Screw you guys.
The a la carte thing works really well, though, right? How long? For 10 years, everyone's like, why can't you just pick the channels you want? Okay, now that's it. And now every channel wants to get paid. So not only are you paying this, you're paying for Netflix, right? Paying for Disney, paying for HBO, you're paying for all this. Like your bill is still a bitch.
Oh, it's still as high, but I can also cancel like that.
That is nice. Yes.
I go back and forth with Sling, and I might have Sling for 4 months a year, but I can cancel whenever I want.
Yeah.
I can cancel Hulu whenever I want. DirecTV, it's like, hey, because then there's no real, what's the motivation to give you any sort of customer service? You're locked in.
Oh, there's great customer service at DirecTV. It's fantastic. You can talk to anyone in a number of different nations around the world who will straight out lie to your ass. And if you're willing to put in, when I told you what I did, you know how long I was on the phone to get done what I needed to get done? 1 hour and 51 minutes.
Yep.
And so the bill was supposed to drop by like $75. The bill came, it went up 60.
Yep.
I had to get on the phone and be on the phone for another hour to get it fixed. And by the way, you know why I got it fixed? I recorded the guy giving me the deal.
Yep.
Kansas is a 1-person only recording state. I told the guy I was recording. They tell you it's recording. They're like, you can't record us. Bullshit. If you're recording me, I can record you. So
you can't record us. You bet your ass I can.
You have a thing that says like this call may be recorded. I'm telling you this call is being recorded. So I recorded it. When I call back the second time with my bill all jacked up, which to me says that they were already like, we didn't say that. And I played it. I played like 10 or 15-minute call with the guy going through point by point. I made him go through every single different thing on how much, no fee for this, none on this, none on this. And then they honored it.
I don't have the patience to do that.
I don't blame you, but I
got tired of just getting on the phone all the time. I can't take it. I don't have time to do it. I don't have the patience.
Do you know how much of my life I have shit away chasing? Like it's insane.
It's a principle.
It is, and that's it. It's like I'm a dog with a bone. I'm not letting go. Like this is bullshit, and I am ready. Like we need, if anything, we need to start some class action lawsuits to like take back the rights of the consumer.
All right, Sean, I'll give you a call this week. Brady, I might take you up on the offer. I can't do this. You know what's funny is the SO when I ran it by her, I was like, listen, it's going to be, we're going to get DirecTV for free if we sign up for it again, but it's going to cost like $130 a month, and we're looking at $1,600. And she was like, screw that. But here's the great thing about this whole conversation. The reason that we should want to watch it at home is that we spend at least $100 every week going out, at least. And if she starts getting shots and starts buying her friend shots, then it's $200.
Yeah.
So I wind up paying more to go out, but at least I'm getting drunk from it and I'm getting alcohol with it, and I don't have to look over and nickel and dime a goddamn bill from DirecTV. So you know what? I'm actually going to spend more to stick it to DirecTV. How about that?
I will say this. It's why you invest in your house, to create an environment that you want to be in, because the drinks are cheaper and you just bring everybody over to your house.
But DirecTV has you by the balls. That's the one thing you can't control.
Yeah. Yeah.
Set up a palace, set up the best entertainment room ever, and the NFL only deals with one vendor. They got to stop that. That's outrageous. They're saving that company. It's gone to crap since AT&T bought DirecTV. Down the stretch, once AT&T took over, that was like the last 6 months.
Yes.
DirecTV, I was like, this is horrendous.
Yes.
And the NFL is in bed with one company. Do you know how much more money they would make?
Yeah.
Come on, Raj. I can't do this. I'm out for the show tomorrow. I screamed out my voice.
There you go.
This is not the solution. No, she's rock solid like 98% of the time. It's not. Oh, God. I already know what I'm doing. Going out the first couple of weeks, spending $200 a week, and then it's COVID, and then there's thousands of dollars in hospital bills, but at least I didn't pay DirecTV.
But it's like maybe they can wheel in while you're on the ventilator, like a DirecTV screen in front of you.
They'll charge me. Then that's a great thing. I'll be in the hospital, and they'll be like, "Oh, we have a DirecTV charge." It's $300 to watch the day's games. Like, wait, DirecTV week by week, it's not that much. Now now DirecTV is getting upcharges via the hospital and getting more of my money.
That's their end. Do you want to get COVID? Pay for DirecTV. If you don't want COVID, pay for DirecTV.
Is that actually their pitch? Have they started that yet?
They should.
Yeah, but dude, it hit me about 3 weeks ago, and we did a like probably 15 minutes on the show on it, and I was like, this is unbelievable. I cut the cord. I thought I was free forever, and they're going to pull me back in.
Yeah.
They are. Amazon has obviously made the most money, but DirecTV is going to be saved by COVID.
You didn't hear that DirecTV apparently manufactured COVID? It was there. It wasn't China. It was DirecTV to save their business.
I believe it.
I'm sure there's some.
I don't need to look at Facebook for that conspiracy. I believe.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some half-baked conspiracy bullshit out there with that.
Might get us in trouble. I don't want to say that on the air. God. All right, that's it. That was a sad ending. I really thought there was going to be some glorious fixes, and nothing came through.
No, go steal it like every other red-blooded American.
All right, that'll do it. What a fun show this was. All our great predictions, good analysis.